Welcome to Learning to Glow, a show about wellness, skin health, and self-development. I'm your host, Jess. I'm a mom, entrepreneur, and skincare expert. I'm so excited to share tips on how to achieve healthy skin and bring amazing guests in the field of health, fitness, aging gracefully, and personal growth. Let's explore all different ways we can take care of ourselves as women, both inside and out, to truly shine. So let's get glowing. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are talking wellness for women, specifically supplements and how we can supplement in a way that is helpful for us. Our guest is Kathryn Robinson, founder of Nova Wellness, and we are talking about the multidimensional side of women's health and why traditional one-size-fits-all approach just does not work. Kathryn shares her journey and common struggles that she has seen women face, from hormonal imbalances and low energy to gut health challenges. We dive into the world of adaptogens and tips for better sleep and how our hormones are affected by the quality of our gut. This is such a great episode. Make sure to check out our show notes to find Kathryn. And as always, I appreciate each of you for listening to our show. I would love it if you could support us by leaving a 5-star review and sharing it with a friend in your life who could really benefit from listening to this podcast. So thank you. And here is Kathryn. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Learning to Glow podcast. Today we have Kathryn Robinson with Nova with us. Welcome. I'm so happy that you're here with us today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I am equally as excited to be here.
I'm so excited for my audience to hear this conversation too, because I've actually been using your product for a few weeks now, and loving it. Can you just introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about Nova and what you do, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you love the product.
I love it.
I'm Kathryn Robinson, founder of Nova, is a women's wellness company founded for the modern multidimensional woman. And we celebrate all of the elements of women's lives. And I created Nova out of a frustration with the wellness industry because the wellness industry doesn't do that. It creates one-size-fits-all solutions and, well, not really solutions, but products. And I was just so frustrated. I felt like so many of us were unseen and unsupported and just burnt out, and that nothing really worked for our bodies. And everything was just tailored to this one standard, body type. And so I knew that we needed something different, and countless other women had to have felt the same way that I did. And so we created two ways we celebrate our, multidimensional health. One is the internal with our products, which are just as multifunctional as our bodies, and the external with the Novaverse community that we're working on building.
That's so awesome. So what were you seeing, you're frustrated by what the wellness industry was offering women at that time. What were you seeing personally that you felt like, okay, I feel like I have something to add here. What's missing?
Absolutely. So I went through a lot of hormonal imbalance and burnout, eventually emergency spine surgery. And nothing worked for me. And especially considering I had prescriptions to take. And so a lot of the products that could have potentially helped me interacted with my medications. And so all of our products are adaptogens. So they're non-toxic. They perform differently in the body than a prescription would. So that was the second part that was important to me. So helping balance hormones, giving me the energy I need without it being a Red Bull or a Celsius. and then understanding that these products are safe and I don't have to worry about them interacting with my medications.
I feel like that is one of the biggest complaints from, I speak to a lot of women, and energy is lacking. We're so busy. We're dealing with hormones. Is that something that was a big red flag with the women that you spoke to too? And I mean, obviously you're dealing with that issue yourself, but what about the women that you talk to and meet with? Is that universal for you too?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's energy, brain fog, of course, the hormones, and obviously it depends on where you are in life, but honestly, no matter what stage you're at, I know perimenopause right now is just tearing a lot of women to pieces because we don't know, because the wellness industry hasn't educated us enough to know, hey, these are changes that might be happening. So if, for instance, you're working out extra hard because you're noticing a little extra weight gain around your midsection, it's most likely a change in hormones, and we don't need to go extra hard in the gym because that's just going to add more cortisol. Um, I kind of got sidetracked there. What was your original? Oh, energy. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Energy. Yes, absolutely. And so Breakthrough, the product that I believe you've been taking,
Yeah.
has D-ribose. And D-ribose is essentially the fundamental energy block of every single cell in our bodies. So it's cell renewal. It fuels ATP. And so it's a long-term energy solution versus caffeine. So I didn't want to put caffeine in the products. We're already drinking who knows how much of coffee per day. So it's important that I found like a natural energy source that will work over long term.
I love that. Yeah, I know. I'm definitely guilty of overdoing the caffeine, which is why I was excited to try, because it is something that a lot of us lean on, because what else are we going to do? We still have to get up and we still have to do our day, and we still need that energy that we're lacking a lot of times. I want to go back to what you mentioned, the ingredient that you mentioned in the beginning, because I feel like people are becoming more aware of adaptogens, but maybe they don't know what they are. They hear the word and they're like, oh yeah, I think I should be taking those, but why should we take them? What are they? Let's start there.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad you asked this because I ask everybody, I'm like, do you know what adaptogens are? And they'll be like, yeah, I mean, I've heard it and I buy products because I hear the word adaptogen. I'm like, but we have to know what we're taking. So
Yes.
the best way to describe an adaptogen is like an automatic car transmission. So take the adaptogen, gets in there, and it's like, okay, we need a little more gas to get up the hill. And then maybe it's like in certain areas, okay, we need to pump the brakes to go down the hill. They give a proportionate response to what you need. So if you have a headache, we're not going to give you morphine in the hospital, right? If you have, God forbid, a severed leg somehow, you're probably going to get morphine, right? So the adaptogens work in the same way, albeit not for pain. So I don't know if that kind of helps. Think of it in the same way we take ibuprofen.
Okay. All right. Well, so when you're talking about, like, because you mentioned perimenopause and you're talking about like as we age, what we need is different. So, what are some other things that you've seen that we need as women that we're lacking? And what are some of those things that could also help with some of those side effects? Because we're dealing with energy loss. We're dealing with maybe a lot of women. One of the biggest things I hear about is sleep. The sleep is like really, it's been compromised, the sleep. I would like to know what other things you see in this age in regards to hormone balance, but also what else do we need as we get into that stage of our life?
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest thing I see is cortisol. And that comes back to the stress. And our bodies are constantly under stress, whether that's mental or physical. And so our cortisol is raised. If you're working out super hard, that's just as much stress on your body as if you have a huge project at work, you're taking care of aging parents, you have kids. It's the same kind of stress. Our body doesn't see the difference. So trying to regulate our nervous system is the first step in achieving better sleep. And our circadian rhythm has so much impact on our hormones as a whole. The second is I think we need to pay more attention to gut health. We talk a lot about estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, but we don't look at gut health. And our gut is our second brain, and so many hormones are produced in our gut. So I think if we, also start to talk about gut health more, yes, regularity is excellent, but also recognizing so much is produced there. And you have also the vagus nerve, which is what connects the gut to the brain. And that works a lot with our mental clarity, our ability to have nerve regeneration and help all different, the interconnected systems in our body.
Okay.
Those would be
Yeah.
my biggest three.
Yeah, I'd love to ask more about the circadian rhythm. I think that's been more talked about in recent years. I don't see it talked about enough. So, can you talk about how can we help our circadian rhythm? If we don't improve that, that's a big roadblock to the sleep, which is a blocker to so many other things if we don't have our sleep.
Absolutely. I think two of the easiest things to start with, first thing in the morning when you get up, sunlight on your face, toes in the grass if you can. I live in an apartment building in the city, so I don't have toes in the grass because all the grass has dog urine in it. So, but sunlight on your face, so your body recognizes it's daytime. We were created to be outdoors, not indoors all of the time. So that would be step one. Step two would be no phones in the bed at night. At least 30 minutes, I would say an hour before bed, try and put the phone down, and no TVs as well. Same kind of blue light that's going to throw off our natural system. So those would be the first two easiest steps I would make.
Yeah, I feel like we hear that and then, and I've been so guilty of this. Like I do really well with it. And then I go back and I fall off with my habit of the bed and the phone. Or, I think one thing that is really helpful is having a dog for me because I have to go outside first thing in the morning and take the dog out. I get that sunlight in my eyes. But if you don't have that, and you can't get out first thing, it's definitely something that you have to make more of an effort for, but it's so worth it. And then the phone at night, it's for anyone listening who does it, it's like so many of us do it. It's just a reminder, maybe try, like you said, at least 30 minutes before you fall asleep. And any other way you can kind of habit stack that so you're not looking at that because it's like telling your brain it's noon when really it's time for bed. That's so important. I feel like people need to, especially women, need to kind of be more cognizant of that.
Yeah.
So, and then I want to talk about gut health because you talk about, this is something that is really important for our hormone regulation too, having gut health. So what are some things that you recommend to promote a healthier gut?
Yeah. So this is going to be a really shameless plug.
Yeah.
I did just launch a brand new product called Flourish. Of course, I have it here. And it's for metabolism and gut health, specifically to address a lot of these issues that women are facing in our age range and above. Mm-hmm. So it has polyphenols, insoluble and soluble fiber. So we want to think about when we talk about gut health, we want to not just think about probiotics, right? So there's prebiotics, probiotics, postbiotics. So we have the three. However, not everybody needs that. I always recommend a GI map. It's not the sexiest thing. And it's also not the most affordable. And that can look at what's going on. What gut bacteria do you have? Where can we improve that gut bacteria? What is your balance? What is your microbiome? Do we have leaky gut? All of those things, looking at that as a whole, because just taking a probiotic isn't necessarily enough. And I had to learn that the very hard way.
So when you say GI map, is that like getting like stool testing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really unsexy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what my functional medicine provider has. They partner with GI Map. Now, I don't know if you have a functional medicine practitioner in your area. They might recommend a different kind. But yes, actually testing your stool will give you great insight about where your gut health is. And a lot of it is not just right now. A lot of it is what have you done throughout your life? Because our guts are equally as malleable as our brains. So how has it been impacted from birth to now? For instance, if your mom had a vaginal birth, you're going to have a better, I guess, often running than a C-section. I was a C-section baby because there's more bacteria in that type of birth than there is in a C-section. Good bacteria, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's all, we just want to look at, and that GI map is able to tell more than, okay, we probably need some fiber in your diet. Polyphenols would be great, but we can also go the extra mile. I started on Akkermansia which is amazing. I don't want to promote another product. It's by Pendulum. Obviously, I think Flourish is the better product. No, so that's been amazing. I would recommend looking into it. AKKERMENISIA, I think. Don't hold me to it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and that's been really awesome.
Okay, so when you talk about, I want to talk about the fiber a little bit for the gut health, because I think that's really important. And I think that is one thing people are talking more about. You know how we go through waves in the wellness industry. At first, it's like, I feel like the past year, it's like everybody's talking about protein. And then now I'm hearing more about fiber because maybe everybody was so focused on protein, they weren't talking about fiber. But the prebiotic and that fiber that way. Can you talk more about that? Because I don't think people talk about that enough.
Yeah. So prebiotics help set up our GI tract to create those probiotics and then postbiotics. They with fiber as a whole, and we look at insoluble, soluble fiber, we want to protect our gut lining, and then we want to help create softer stools and move the stools throughout the entire GI tract. So that's a little bit of why we want prebiotics and soluble and insoluble fiber.
Okay. And I want to switch gears a little bit because one of the benefits of breakthrough that you guys talk about is energy for active women, women who are working out, women who are exercising, they're walking, they're lifting weights, whatever. Tell us why it's such a great way to help support someone who's, more active.
Absolutely. So there is the D-ribose that I mentioned. That's the carrier of our CBD with our biotech. So CBD is going to help balance your systems and bring it into equilibrium. So then our mushroom blends, there's 6 full spectrum mushrooms, can get into work and do what they do best, which is athletic performance. There are 2 clinical trials on the mushroom blend that show just massive improvement in physical performance, endurance, strength, oxygen utilization. And then we have rhodiola as well. And that is amazing for cortisol. So if we're lowering our cortisol, our body is able to take on a little more. And it's also been clinically tried, 2 clinical trials on physical performance for intra-exercise support. So you're getting the muscular support while you work out. So we have beforehand with the D-ribose kind of getting into play, we've got during, which would be the rhodiola, and then the mushrooms help over time, especially with the cordyceps, phenomenal for endurance and oxygen uptake.
I've heard so many things, so many amazing things too about mushrooms and mushroom extracts. Can you tell us more about that? That is something that I remember I watched a documentary on mushrooms and all of the different, I mean, there's so many different types, and maybe you can talk about the ones that you guys use and why you chose them, but they are so amazing for, you talk about performance here, but just like our general health. Like, tell us more about mushrooms because I've heard amazing things.
Yeah. Mushrooms are fungi. Fungi have been here forever and ever and ever. One of our very first blogs was about the ancient timeline of fungi. And so I believe that if something has been on this earth for that long, we should probably look into it. And just a note for those listening, there are different types of mushrooms. There are functional mushrooms, which are what is in breakthrough, and then there are psychedelic mushrooms. I think a lot of folks hear mushrooms and they're like, "Oh, wait, no, I can't do that." I'm like, "No, it's not. You're not going to get high." Mushrooms are really important, especially when you have such a good blend like the one in breakthrough, because they can attack different things across our systems. So what you need might not be what I need. Let's say we both do the exact same workout every single day. We still have different bodies and different systems. And the good thing about mushrooms is they'll know, okay, maybe Kathryn, she needs a little more strength. Jessica, she could use a little more oxygen to power her muscles during the power lifts or whatever it is. And that's what I really chose the mushroom mix for, was that it could help different women achieve the goals that they had.
Oh, I love that. Well, maybe we could talk about because we've heard about two different products that you have. Maybe you can share if somebody's listening to this and they're like loving the ingredients that you're talking about, but they're trying to pick one that's right for them. What would you recommend? Maybe you can pick a person that would be like amazing for Flourish and amazing for Breakthrough. I know obviously you can do both at the same time, but who's your person that you're targeting for each of those?
Yeah, absolutely. So Flourish, I'm so excited about. I truly want, it's the first body positive weight management brand because we can love our bodies and still want to see changes. Flourish is for women who are trying to achieve goals and they found that they're stuck in their metabolic process and their gut health. And it just helps, no matter what those goals are, those body goals are, it just helps you move along. And it attacks visceral fat. So that's the fat in our torso, so waist and hips. So you're not going to wither away. It's a sustainable product. And I wanted to, again, create all of our products do multiple things because our bodies do multiple things. So I was like, I don't want to just do metabolism. What else is really important for us as we talk about managing weight and body goals? Well, gut health. We go back to that gut health. So that's Flourish. If you have body goals, you're on a wellness journey, you love your body, you have different things you want to achieve, that is definitely Flourish. Breakthrough is going to be those who need to push through and get things done. I will say both of them, you have to take over a long period of time. Flourish does start working within an hour in terms of increasing your metabolic rate. There are 3 gold standard clinical trials. Breakthrough has 6 clinical trials throughout its ingredients. It just, if you love science, I love science. I was going to go down the science road, but we've been here all day. So I would say Breakthrough is more for, women who need to get through a lot in the day-to-day, just so busy, don't have a lot of time to stick to a supplement routine. And Flourish is also very easy. It's just 2 capsules a day. Whenever you need to take them, you don't have to have food or anything. So I kind of
I
the difference there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people are going to resonate with needing, but like they're going to resonate with both of the issues that you recommend the products for. One thing I like about Breakthrough too is that it tastes great and it's a powder. This is like my favorite thing. If you know me, I'm always like drinking something. I always have a water bottle, multiple drinks. It's funny. And I do get sick of just drinking plain old water sometimes because, I want to add stuff to it, which is why I love Breakthrough because it's a powder that you can put in water and mix it in and drink it. And I love that about it. And it tastes really good. Do you just have one flavor? Because it's the one I have is fruit punch.
Yep, just the one flavor. And thank
Yeah.
you. I'm so glad you like it. Yeah, it does not taste like mushrooms, does not taste hempy. It doesn't, taste like plants.
Yeah, but I think also it's fun to, and I say this for people who are having a hard time getting their water in too. It's like add stuff to it, like add electrolytes, add lemon juice. There's so many things we can add to our water so we can get as much water as we should be drinking. But Breakthrough tastes really great and you're getting that energy boost. And when you're using it, when you're like, as far as recommended times, do you say before a workout or is it after a workout?
It's really up to you.
Okay, it doesn't
It's
matter.
totally up to you. Yeah, it doesn't matter. The way Breakthrough works is over time. So it's just you have to be consistent with it over time for you to have the results of the clinical trials, for example.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. But I do love that it's just something that you can also take with you. Like if
Yeah.
you're going to work or something, you can just throw the packets. I love packets. They're easy to travel with as well. So, is there anything else you can tell us about the brand or the products that you think women would benefit from that we haven't talked about before?
Yeah, absolutely. So Nova as a whole is much more than a product brand. We are very much rooted in trying to do more for women throughout society. There's a lot of a lot of not just in the wellness industry leaving women behind, but in terms of as a whole. And so we want to do better to give women a voice. We don't serve an algorithm. We don't try and get on trends. We try to speak truth to everything that's going on, and our particular views on things, and how we stick up for women, how we give women more rights, especially women of color. And that's just super important to us. The community, the interconnectedness, having support, and we welcome all. So that's also very important for us, because you can look at any wellness brand and tell exactly who their target market is. And 9 times out of 10, it is white women. And I was just tired of that. No, that's not what our world looks like. Black and brown women have given this world so very much, and they deserve more than what I deserve, honestly, at this point. So I wanted to make sure that our brand represents that, not just in what we see, but in the voices we give and the products we create. Are they really working for every woman's body? So there's just a lot there in terms of the brand, that we're not just a product company.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. I feel like a lot of our women are in their midlife, and there's a lot of different information out there. There's so many different supplements out there. Is there anything else that you want to leave them with before we say goodbye?
Yeah, absolutely. Find joy. No matter what that is, please find it. And I know sometimes it can take a very long time. We tend to put ourselves behind other people, and there is nothing wrong with choosing yourself. I have a lot of friends who have families, and they have sacrificed so much for those families, and I love that. And yet we can't take care of others if we don't take care of ourselves. So that would be first. And second is try Flourish. It's amazing. Quick note on that. I did have some emergency spine surgery. I couldn't work out for 2 years. Naturally, I gained weight. Mm-hmm. And Flourish has just helped me so much to feel confident again, and that I can get back to where I was and not have to buy a whole new wardrobe.
Oh, that's amazing. And then not have to worry about taking things that are not good for us too. Yeah. I mean, being in this space and making sure we're making the choices. A lot of people who listen to this podcast, a lot of women who listen to this podcast, they care what goes inside of their bodies. Like, it matters to them. The result matters, but the means to get there is equally important. And we are trying to live a quality life, not just a long life. So I think this is amazing. It was so good to meet you. And I'm going to make sure that I link everything in the show notes for people to find you. But can you just share, where can we look more into the company and the brand? And if we want to purchase anything, where can we go to get that?
Absolutely. Well, Flourish, unfortunately, regulations by industries have me separating my products, because Flourish does not have CBD or THC, while Nova products do, so Breakthrough and Liftoff. So Breakthrough, Liftoff, and the brand as a whole is the Nova Element, and that's .com for online and for Instagram and TikTok. And then Flourish is flourishbynova.com, and then Flourish by Nova is our handle on TikTok and Instagram as well. And quick note on what you mentioned about women knowing what we put in our bodies. Flourish has 4 active ingredients, and that's it. Turmeric, baobab, moringa, and curry leaf.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Those are amazing. We've talked about some of those ingredients on this podcast. They're amazing. So I can't wait to try Flourish. I'm really excited. I'm already loving Breakthrough, and I'll make sure to link everything. So if you're listening to this, you can just hop over to the show notes and check it out. But Kathryn, thank you so much for sharing with us today.
I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please subscribe and review so we can reach more people who want to learn to glow alongside us. See you next time.